As soon as the Toronto Raptors made the deal to send Pascal Siakam to the Indiana Pacers in return for Bruce Brown, Jordan Nora, and some picks, instantly in that moment, the New York Knicks became interested again in Bruce Brown. And now, thanks to Adrian Wojnarowski, he actually gave us an update indicating who the new teams are that are interested in Bruce Brown. And no surprise here, one of those teams is the New York Knicks. We're going to break down his report, more insider reports about this matter, and so much more today. So be sure you're subscribed to the channel and have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Adrian Wojnarowski helped provides an update on the New York Knicks and their next trade target. And like we said at the top of the show, that target is Bruce Brown. Now, I'm not shocked by this because, again, on this channel a few days ago, we did drop a video thanks to Ian Bagley reporting that the New York Knicks, after the Toronto Raptors made that trade and got Bruce Brown on their roster, that the Knicks were instantly interested again and wanted to add him. And if you don't know why, Tom Thibodeau is actually a big Bruce Brown fan. He's loved his game since college. But not only that, the Knicks were actively trying to add Bruce Brown to the roster this offseason. However, the Pacers came in last second and offered him a very good deal of 2 years, $45 million. And then instead, the Knicks opted to sign Donte DiVincenzo for a 4-year, $47 million deal. While the Knicks are happy with that signing, I absolutely think that if they could have got Bruce Brown, they would have gotten him. And now, thanks to Adrian Wojnarowski, it seems they are absolutely interested in getting him on the roster and adding him to this team. According to Woj, he reported late last night during a game that the Lakers and the Knicks were among the teams interested in Raptors' newly acquired guard, Bruce Brown. Now, you might be thinking this isn't new news because Ian Bagley essentially reported the same thing. While true, I will say this. When Woj reports something, especially the timing that he reports it, for me, it means a little bit more. It also means that if the teams were interested before, they are now actively trying to trade for Bruce Brown. And the two teams he mentioned were the Los Angeles Lakers and the New York Knicks. If that wasn't enough, ESPN NBA insider himself, Bobby Marks, also spoke about Bruce Brown and the New York Knicks and actually stated if the Knicks traded for Bruce Brown, it would be the perfect trade for the Knicks to make. Let's take a look at what he said here. According to Bobby Marks, regarding who the Knicks should go after and trade for, he stated, the perfect guy to go out and get is Bruce Brown, right? Like if you want another guard on this team who can play point guard for you, can shoot the ball. I know you've got an abundant, but you know, you've got Grimes, you got DiVincenzo. Bruce Brown is the perfect guy for Knicks fans to go out and get because he's got a team option for next year. I also want to remind fans who didn't watch the initial video that the reason we're talking about this is because after the Toronto Raptors trade, according to Ian Bagley here, the Knicks have had some internal interest in Brown and might view the versatile swingman as a way to strengthen their defense, up their playmaking options when Jalen Brunson is out, and perhaps grease the gears of a bigger trade down the road. Brown's $23 million team option for next season could be a helpful money matcher if the New York Knicks go out to search for a star this summer. It's also extremely important to note that while the Raptors just acquired Bruce Brown in a Pascal Siakam deal, according to Bleacher Report, they are in the process of resetting the roster around Scotty Barnes, hence the 3 first-round picks that came along with Brown. But here's my thing about that. I like Bruce Brown. I think he's a great player. But honestly, besides the shooting, which I think he does way better than Josh Hart, doesn't he remind you kind of like a Josh Hart type of player? A glue guy, a hustler, a good defender, somebody out there who can do the little things, the dirty things out there for you, the grunt work. I feel like that's the type of player Bruce Brown is. Now, don't get me wrong. Former NBA champion last season with the Denver Nuggets, so clearly you have to give him props with that as well too. We can't take anything away from his impact and what he meant to that team. And clearly, he got the contract that he did based on his impact around the league where he's been, with the Brooklyn Nets, with the Denver Nuggets, with the Indiana Pacers, and wherever his next team is going to be, whether that be the New York Knicks or, as Woj reported, perhaps the Los Angeles Lakers. For me, I still want Dejounte Murray. That's the prize. That's the player the New York Knicks need to go after. I like Bruce Brown. I think he can help this Knicks team. Honestly, though, I just don't think he's the right fit for this Knicks team right now, just given the pieces we already have. I think he should go to another team like the Lakers, who he can definitely help benefit a lot more than the New York Knicks. The Knicks need another ball handler, another shot creator, and somebody who's a high-level scorer right behind Brunson. And I think Dejounte Murray checks all of those boxes. And if you haven't been watching the Hawks games recently, let me just tell you, a couple of nights ago, Dejounte Murray just hit a buzzer beater for the Atlanta Hawks to win the game. So let me say, he is capable, he is absolutely motivated, and he can definitely do everything the New York Knicks need him to do. However, if the Hawks are not going to make him available and not going to allow the New York Knicks to land him for a fair deal, I don't mind the New York Knicks going out there and trying to get another player. If they want to get Bruce Brown at that point in time, maybe I'll understand it. But like I said before, we don't need another type of Bruce Brown player. Honestly, we need another shot creator and somebody who can help stabilize the offense off the bench to give Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle some proper rest so we don't have to put them out there with the reserves. So for me, if you're going to go look out for other guards around the league to add to this New York Knicks team, I would rather the Knicks go after some cheaper options. Maybe a Tyus Jones, maybe a Malcolm Brogdon, maybe a Jordan Clarkson. Those are the type of options I would like the New York Knicks to go after rather than Bruce Brown. But those are the type of options that I would like the New York Knicks to go after. But one thing that we need to note here is, how would the New York Knicks pull off a trade to get Bruce Brown on this roster? Well, according to Ian Begley, he notes the following. According to Begley and Bleacher Report, they note that Fournier could make the money work in any potential Bruce Brown deal, and the Raptors could move on from Fournier's offseason salary of $19 million because his $19 million salary for next season is a team option. So now that we know that Evan Fournier needs to be in any deal that gets Bruce Brown on this roster, what are potential trade packages that will land Bruce Brown on this Knicks team? Well, thankfully, I scurried the internet and I found two potential trade packages that the Knicks could give Toronto to get Bruce Brown on this roster. Let's take a look at the first one. Shout out to Bleacher Report for providing the following information and potential trade package. The trade, according to them, the Knicks send over Grimes, Evan Fournier, and a 2024 first-round pick, but it's top 12 protected, to the Toronto Raptors for Bruce Brown. This next trade is from DailyKnicks.com. It's very similar to the last trade. The only difference is the pick that's included. For this particular trade, the Knicks receive Bruce Brown, and the Raptors get Grimes, Fournier, and a 2024 protected first-round pick via the Dallas Mavericks. I really do appreciate these trades. I know a lot of thought goes into them, and it takes a long time to create them and post them up. But honestly, for me, I'm not doing any of these trades to get Bruce Brown on this roster for one simple fact. If that's the trade to get Bruce Brown, what's the trade to get Dejounte? Because if I only have to add another pick to that deal, if I have to add a protected pick or an unprotected pick from the New York Knicks to that deal to get me a Dejounte Murray and potentially an AJ Griffin so I can add them to this roster, I am absolutely doing it without making a second thought. Because for me, that's the move the New York Knicks need to make, not Bruce Brown. If the Knicks are willing and comfortable in giving up this much for Bruce Brown, then they should have no problem adding another pick to this potential deal and going out and getting Dejounte Murray and potentially AJ Griffin to this roster. That's the move to make. Those players make the most sense for this Knicks team, and they help this Knicks team now and potentially later, especially if you want to sell me that the Knicks are going to flip this potential player for a star or a superstar down the line. In my opinion, I think that Dejounte Murray under Tom Thibodeau is going to thrive, going to look like a better player, and his value is going to increase. And if it doesn't work out completely with the Knicks, then the Knicks can flip him, some other players, and a lot of picks because they would retain a lot of picks in this type of deal, and they could use them in a deal in the future to get that player that they've always wanted. That's the move they need to make. Bruce Brown, another Josh Hart type of player? Sorry. I like Bruce Brown as a human being. I'm sure he's a great guy. He does have a really good game, but he can go to the Los Angeles Lakers. He can go to another team where he could really benefit that team. If he came to this Knicks team, he would help, but he really wouldn't benefit this Knicks team. He wouldn't have that same type of impact that he would have, let's say, if Josh Hart wasn't on this team. But for now, Bruce Brown and the Knicks, while it sounds good and I understand the connection and the interest, I hope the Knicks do not do this trade, and I hope and I pray that the Knicks continue to go out there, shake the trees, use these potential deals and other players as power moves, force the Hawks to make a deal with them right now, and get Dejounte Murray and hopefully AJ Griffin back in that deal on this Knicks team. I also think that the New York Knicks' interest in Bruce Brown is also a power play by the New York Knicks, essentially indicating to the Atlanta Hawks that, listen, I want to do business with you, but if you wait too long, you don't accept my deal, I will go ahead and I will show interest in other players, potentially other guards, and if you wait too long, I'll make that deal for that guard because you took too long. And if the Knicks take themselves out of the running for Dejounte Murray, I think the value for him is going to go from here to here because you took another team out of the mix that could potentially give a lot of assets up to get Dejounte. If that level of team is out, that means all the other teams remaining and that means all the other teams that are remaining and involved don't have to give up as much because they know that the New York Knicks are not up for play anymore. So the Hawks better be smart in regards to what type of deal they accept for Dejounte Murray. The clock is ticking not only for them, but for the New York Knicks and Leon Rose. Because once Dejounte is off the table, the Knicks are going to have to scramble to see if they can find another player. And I just really hope that other player is not Bruce Brown. But what about you guys? What do you feel about this situation and this update from Adrian Wojnarowski basically stating that the New York Knicks and the Los Angeles Lakers have renewed interest in Bruce Brown and want to add him to the roster? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.